Hello and welcome to From the Roots Up, where we're building our homestead little by little from the roots up. I'm Kristy, and today we are going to be making strawberry syrup. It is day 15 in our Every Bit Counts challenge, and if you've been following along, we have canned and we have frozen and we have dehydrated and all sorts of things. And today we are dealing with all the strawberries that we have sitting around that if we don't do something with it quickly, they're gonna go bad. So we want to preserve the strawberries today. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite method for preserving strawberries is. Today we're going to be making a syrup that you can use on pancakes and waffles or even ice cream, whatever you can imagine. The first thing we're going to need is 10 cups of strawberries. And what we're going to do is to cut the stems off the strawberries and put them in this big pot right here. All right, you want to crush these a little bit and then you want to add a cup and a half of water. Then the next step is just to bring them over to the stove and set them to boiling for about 5 minutes. I'll see you back here when we're all done. All right, now we have our strawberries back. They've been boiled. The next step is to strain them, and this process is gonna take a little bit of time, so you can let it go and you can just go read a book or something. But what you wanna do is to get a strainer, and I'm just putting mine over this big stock pot because it's tall enough that the strainer can just sit and let it drip. You can do this in a bunch of different ways. You can stack your strainer up on books if you have just a little bowl or something, or you can get a big bowl. Anything works as long as it has room to drip. And what you want to do is get some cheesecloth, and you want to layer a few layers of cheesecloth into the strainer. And this will pick up all the seeds and all the extra little strawberry pieces and just make a liquid, which is what we want for our strawberry syrup. So I'm gonna layer just a couple and make sure we don't have any strawberries sneaking out there. And this part's really simple. We're gonna take the mixture and we're going to very gently pour it in here. And you'll notice some of the liquid will immediately just sift right through that. And some will take a little longer. So we're gonna wait 2 hours and I will see you back here to finish out this recipe. Okay, now we have our strawberry juice that has dripped for 2 hours, and we're gonna go ahead and make the syrup. So the first thing we need is 1.5 cups of water and 2.5 cups of sugar. And then we're going to set it to boil. And we want this on a medium-high heat, and we want to stir until the sugar is dissolved and we bring it to a boil. Now while we're getting the syrup cooking, I'm going to go ahead and heat these canning jars. The reason I'm heating these canning jars is because we're going to put the syrup in it while it's still hot. And if we put a hot syrup into a room temperature canning jar, it could crack. So we're going to try to eliminate that possibility. Okay, our sugar and water are boiling right now. So now what we want to do is increase the temperature to high, and we're going to add our strawberry juice. And 3.5 cups of corn syrup. And I'll be sure to add this recipe in the description box so that if you want to read it, you can. And now we're going to stir this and let it boil. And once it's boiling, we're going to boil it for 5 minutes. All right, our jars are warm. We removed them from the canner and our syrup is boiled and ready to go. I am using 1/2 pint jars, but you can use whatever size jar you want. So we're gonna put the canning funnel on. This just makes it super easy so you don't spill everywhere. You don't have to have one. And I'm just gonna fill the jars. Now I wanna leave for this recipe a 1/4 inch of headspace. Headspace is the distance between the top of the jar to the canning liquid. Now a 1/4 inch is going to be right at this first little lip in our canning jars. But you should always measure it so you know where it is in yours. All right, the next thing we want to do is to clean off the rims and just make sure they're nice and clean with nothing sticky, because we want to make sure that the jars seal all the way. And if there's something preventing them from sealing, we want to get that off. And just a damp cloth works really well. All right, now to put the lids on. Now you want a fresh new lid, unless you have reusable lids, but these are not. But the rings can be used over and over and over again. And what I want to do first is to put the lid on, then take the canning ring and just twist it with your fingers till it stops, and then just a little bit more. You don't want to wrench down on it because that could prevent it from sealing all the way. And keep doing this for all your jars. Okay, lid's on and everything's ready to go. Now I'm going to put them in the canner, and make sure when you put them in the canner, there's a little bit of water on top of them that covers up the jars. Also, if you have hard water, one of my viewers suggested this and it has worked amazingly well. If you put a dash of white vinegar in there, when you take the jars out, they don't have that white calcification on them. Another reason we heated the jars in the canner was because we don't want to put jars with hot liquid back into cold water. So that heated up the water in addition to heating up the jars. All right, all the jars are in there. Now I'm going to put the lid on it and we'll take it over to the stove. We'll turn the heat on high and wait until it boils. Once it boils, we want to let it boil for 10 minutes. And once the timer goes off, we will turn off the burner and remove the lid and set another timer for 5 minutes. Doing this allows the jars to cool off slower than they would if you just removed them, and can prevent siphoning, which is the things pulling out really quickly because of the change in temperature. All right, let's get these going and I'll see you back here when we're done. All right, our canner is done processing. Let's go ahead and pull the jars out. And it's as easy as that. Look at this beautiful syrup. We're about halfway through our Every Bit Counts challenge in the month of August, where we are preserving a little bit of food every day. If you missed some of our previous preservation videos, be sure to check out the playlist right over here, and you can see all of them in one place. If you got some value out of this, be sure to like it, and also hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you can be notified every time we come out with a new video. Thanks for joining us.